Okay, this is a lesson about interpreting the intercepts. And so we're not really starting with an equation, but just to refresh your memory, what an x-intercept is and a y-intercept. And an x-intercept is the point on which the graph touches the x-axis. All x-intercepts have the form of the x value, whatever the x value is for the x-intercept, and then the y value has to be 0. In order to land on the x-axis, the y value has to be 0, and the x value is going to be whatever your number is. Now, the y-intercept then is where it touches the y-axis. And in order to have a point on the y-axis, your x value has to be 0, and then your y is whatever number we're talking about. So finding the x and y intercepts, many of you thought was a pretty simple skill, but now we have to make sure we interpret them. So this is why we're doing another practice, because it's very important to understand and interpret what the x and y intercepts mean in a given situation. So here we have a graph. We don't have any equation at all, so we have to get information from the graph. So we have the number of songs downloaded on the x-axis, and then the gift card balance on the y-axis. So the y-intercept is 0.20, and it represents, now 0 songs have been downloaded, but your gift card balance is $20. So that's your starting balance. So your starting balance of the card, your gift card. So you're starting off with $20. The x-intercept is 50. So where it crosses the x-axis, well, it's at 50, and it represents the number of songs I can buy, or you can buy, before you run out of money. You run out of money. Okay. Now, determine the cost per song using the intercepts stated above. So if we use just these intercepts, so if we have 0.20, the y-intercept, and 50. Well, if we find the rate of change, this is going down by 20, this is going up by 5, so we have a negative 20 over 5, which is a negative 4, but what this means is for every song, don't tell me that each song is a negative $4. You don't have a negative $4, but each song costs $4. What it's saying is you're subtracting 4 for every song you buy, you're subtracting $4 from the gift card balance. That's why that's a negative. But really, to interpret the slope correctly, each song costs $4. Now, how can you determine the cost of per song using just the graph versus putting the ordered pairs? Well, if we look here, you're at 0.20. One song, you're at 16. So just logically, 20 minus 16 is because you went down 4 and then over 1. So each song, you can use the graph by doing that. Each song is going to cost $4. And you guys do this very well. So how can you determine the song from using the graph? Well, it declined by 4 for every song I purchased. Okay, so let's just do one more together. And so this situation, we have number of spirit shirts sold and the total profit. Okay, but this is a little bit different. So if you look at the y-intercept, our y-intercept is 0, negative 30. Now that represents the amount of money that they did what? So the number of spirit shirts sold, the y-intercept total profit, before even selling any shirts, they're in debt right now because they've had to buy the shirts. So this is the total money that they initially spent getting the shirts ready. It could be the cost of the shirt, could be the graphics that they put on it. So you have to spend money here before buying the product. So they're in the whole $30. The x-intercept is 60. And that represents the number of shirts they need to sell before they start making money. So they have to sell 6 shirts just to break even. So they have to sell before they start making money. The break-even point. Okay, how would the graph change if they spent $50 in upfront costs for the shirts? Well, if they spent $50, your y-intercept is going to be lower. So it's going to be a lower y-intercept. Your starting point is going to be lower. Which intercept X or Y would change if I increase the charge per shirt to $10. Well, right here, you have to have 6 shirts, so that's $5 a piece. It goes up 30 over 6, so 30 over 6, right now it's $5 a piece. If you increase the charge per shirt to $10, what would change? Well, the initial cost would be the same, so your X-intercept would change. Because if instead of charging $5 per shirt and you charge only $10, you don't have to sell as many shirts to make a profit. So what does this mean about your situation now? Is that you can sell less shirts to make a profit sooner. Okay, so your job is to finish the rest of these. Here's one, and then on your paper it's going to be flipped over, so you're going to have 4 more. This is really not on your own anymore. 4 more that you're going to do on your own. Okay, so make sure you pay attention to what the questions are asking. Pay attention to the labels. So when you get finished with that, then you have 2 puzzles. So you have the puzzle time here, just practicing finding the X and Y intercepts. You guys thought this was pretty easy. Watch this fraction though, and watch these here too. So then you're going to be able to find those intercepts, and those letters are going to go in here. The back page is just a review of finding slope. Now they have 4, so you can just pick 2 points between any 2 points to find that slope. I want to see your work, okay? Many of you just try to figure out what the puzzle is, but I want to see your work and find the slope and the y-intercept of the graph. Some of these can be found just by looking at it. Some of these you're going to have to Some of these you're going to have to rearrange. Okay, and that's kind of blurry. Sorry about that. But that is what you are working on for today. Thank you.